Welcome to the Euro 2020 betting show from the Action Network.
Welcome back to the Action Network's Euro 2020 soccer betting preview show. I'm Michael Leboff, the soccer editor here at Action Network, and joining me, as always, from the beautiful big city of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, BJ Cunningham, and then from he's an okay city, it's Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Anthony DeBundo. And guys, this is the last day of the round of 16, and probably the biggest match of the round of 16 is the noon kickoff. It's taking place between Germany and England. The odds, bookmakers are having a pretty tough time picking between these teams. England is a slight favorite at the moment. Germany around 2-1 underdog to advance. England minus 125 at the moment, and Germany at even money. BJ, you're wearing your Three Lions shirt. I'm assuming that means that we're going to hear you tell us that it's coming home.
Oh, yeah, it's coming home. What's funny about this match is if you read the local papers in each of these countries, you'd think the sky is falling. But honestly, both teams have some concerns, and it's kind of at the opposite end of the pitch. England, they weren't that great creating chances during the group stage. They only scored 2 goals, but defensively, they have almost been the best team in this entire tournament. They haven't allowed a goal. They've only allowed their opponents to create a total of 1.73 expected goals. And I think this is a game where their defense will be able to shine. Now, Germany, on the other hand, hasn't had a problem creating chances, scoring goals. They've already scored 6, created 1.89 expected goals per match, but their back line is a real problem and a real concern, because even in that last match against Hungary was able to penetrate their back line through the middle one too many times. And now they're going to be facing a team with the pace and technical ability of England, no matter who Southgate decides to put in there or rotate. That is a major concern from the Germans. And I think this is honestly a game script that's going to be very similar to how France played Germany, where I think England will kind of sit back in a low block and then basically look to hit Germany's high line on the counter with the pace that they have. So, this match will also be played in London. It'll be Germany's first match outside of Munich. And I love England here. I love them to advance to the quarters. I have them projected at minus 171 to advance. So anything minus 125 or better, anything minus 145 or better to advance to the quarters is good enough for me.
Yeah, I actually have a feeling this. We saw it with Germany in their group stages. They had some bonkers games with Hungary and Portugal. Usually in one of these knockout stages, one of these matches, we see something crazy like a 4-3 or something. Even though England's been so good defensively, they do have so much going forward. If they do score, this game should open up. I actually think hunting for some big prices on over 3.5 goals, total goals, or even 4 or something like that. I think we're going to see some crooked numbers in this match. But like you, BJ, I think that if you are betting on a team, to me, it's England or nothing. But I think I'll be looking more towards the totals and the over. Anthony, what do you have for this one?
I think that the German defensive concerns are very real, and I think the English offensive concerns are very not as real. I trust talent to win through in the end. When you look at the England attacking players, they're way too good. And what we've seen from the first 2 games when they played against lower blocks, they struggled to create chances and break down opponents. That's fair. And you could question the lineup decision. You could question playing a double pivot. You could question all those things. The third game, when Czech Republic pressured them a little bit more, they were able to find space in between the lines. Grealish had a great game. I thought Saka was pretty lively. And then obviously Sterling getting the goal. That is the kind of situation where England running out of defense with space is going to be terrifying for defenses, especially this German one, who looks incredibly vulnerable. Everybody thought they would be vulnerable coming into the tournament. They've looked even more so. They're going to press. England's going to have less of the ball than Germany. Germany will probably be on the front foot. I trust the England back line to deal with the crosses. Maguire is a huge presence in the air to have him back. Stones and Maguire as ball progressors playing through this German midfield, getting it up to the front line and then letting them wreak havoc. I love England. I think this is a nightmare spot for the Germans. They're probably one of the few teams they did not want to play. They get them. So for me, England minus 125 to advance right now. I love that. Don't know if they'll get it done in 90, but I love them to get it done over 120 and advance to the quarterfinal, where I think they're going to get a pretty favorable draw.
Yeah,
And
I also think the England future price of 7-1 right now actually does have some value if you look at England's path to the final. Because if they can get by Germany, they'll play Sweden or Ukraine in the next round, and then the semis, it'll be the Dutch or Denmark, and that match will also be played in London. Then the final is also in London, and somehow England's futures odds have gone down after the group stage when they were around 5-1 at the beginning of the tournament, and we thought their path was going to be much tougher before the tournament. So their path has somehow gotten easier and their odds have gone down. So I also love England 7-1 to win the tournament.
there you have it. BJ really thinks it's coming home. So that I think that game will probably be the headliner of the entire round. A ratings bonanza, then the 3 p.m. kickoff. I mean, it's a game that only a bettor could really love, or maybe if you're from Sweden or the Ukraine. It's a hilarious match. Both these teams come in with negative expected goal differentials. They're both. I mean, Sweden. I think they won their group, but I don't know if you'd consider them that they say they'd earned it more. That Spain kind of gifted it to them through some poor finishing. The Ukraine for like 24 hours or so didn't look like they were going to go through. Sweden is minus 167 to advance. Ukraine's plus 130. This one is really, really tough for me. I think for me, like I would love, I might be a live better on Sweden because I do like them, but I don't think the number's particularly appetizing at the moment. Anthony, this is your team. Like you've fallen in love with the Swedes. Can you back them at this number?
Yeah, I can. I fell in love with the Swedes before the tournament because I thought that, Sweden's a classic tournament team. They're going to sit with their guys behind the ball. They're going to be well organized. And then they're going to break and they're going to have some really fun attacking players. Now, COVID robbed us of Dejan Kulusevski playing the first 2 matches for Sweden, who is their best, creative player. He came in the second half against Poland and had 2 assists. So, the impact of Kulusevski cannot be understated. He had 0.5 expected assists too. So it wasn't like, he was getting beneficiaries of people hitting great goals. It was, putting players in to score, Quaison and Forsberg. So when you look at the Forsberg, Quaison, Isak, and Kulusevski, between the 4 of them, they have probably one of the best Sweden attacks in decades. And so I really like Sweden to do some damage here on the break against Ukraine and really trouble them. Now, Sweden's defense looked really vulnerable in transition, defending against Poland. But other than that, they've been really good. And Lewandowski is Lewandowski. Ukraine does not have a Lewandowski. So, for me, I think that if Sweden's able to keep their numbers behind the ball and not go gung-ho, which in tournament football, being this the knockout stage, I think they're going to be much more conservative if they get a lead than they were against Poland when they were already through. For me, Sweden plus 140 looks like great value. I know BJ also likes that. For me, I trust Sweden's defense much more than Ukraine's, which looked pretty vulnerable against the 2 teams they played that had anything going forward. So for me, I love the Swedes.
It's really a shame that you can't find Robin Olsen, the goalkeeper for Sweden, in the player of the tournament market, because he arguably was one of the most impressive players through the group stage. Kept Sweden in it against Spain, and honestly dragged them across the line to win the group. BJ, as Anthony mentioned, I think your projections are showing a little bit of value on the Swedes here. Can you back that up?
Yeah, I think I have the Swedes around, plus 115 in this match. And it's more about just how overrated Ukraine is. And coming into the tournament, I think we all talked about how honestly overrated they were based on their expected goals, and they've literally shown nothing to change my mind on them. I mean, that match against Austria was potentially one of the weirdest performances I think I've ever seen from a team in an international tournament. Shevchenko's men, honestly, what they looked like is like there was some type of handshake agreement for a draw, and Austria just said no, like we're not doing that, because Ukraine only created 0.36 expected goals. They only had 5 shots, and they only completed 26 passes in Austria's final third, which is really bad. And, if you take out their match against North Macedonia, against Austria and the Netherlands, they were outcreated 4.01 expected goals to 1.07. Like Anthony said, Kulusevski coming back with that attacking force that Sweden has with Ishak and Forsberg and him is fantastic. And also, can you imagine if Zlatan was healthy up top along with Ishak? This attack would be really lethal. And yeah, I love Sweden in this match just because I think Ukraine is completely overrated, and I love the price of plus 140, and I think I'd play anything probably down to plus 130.
The Swedes 50-1 to win this whole tournament at the moment. It could be fun. Anyways, that'll do for the round of 16 here on the Action Network's Euro 2020 soccer betting preview show. We'll be back for the quarterfinals and just can't wait.
For all the updated information on the Euros, go to theactionnetwork.com and download the Action Network app and enjoy the games.